the dead. Sorry, you become relevant when you're dead. But the reason we want to understand the dead is so that we can really understand the living. And to delete the dead because somehow they don't fit a category that we like in the present is to soil the present.
Thank you. I yield back.
Mr. Gale from Texas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding this hearing and to the witnesses for taking the time to travel all the way out here. Director Hardig, thank you for being here. Would you say that the goal of history, even if it's not properly carried out, would you say that the goal of history is to be objective?
Thank you, sir, for the question. You know, I think that there are many goals of history, and certainly as you collect, as we do, examine evidence, create scholarship.
Is objectivity one of the goals of history?
We strive to be objective and nonpartisan and not based on any ideology.
So it's one of the goals. Doesn't that seem a little bit concerning? It certainly does to me, because as part of this white supremacy document that your organization has promoted, objectivity is a core and defining aspect of white supremacy culture. Do you think that it's the goal of the Smithsonian Institution to promote white supremacy culture?
Sir, do you mind sharing with me which document?
It's white supremacy culture right here. This is part of the mass action toolkit that your organization has promoted for several years now under your leadership. Are you promoting a white supremacy culture at the Smithsonian?
Am I promoting a white?
Ma'am, is this a difficult question?
No, sir, I'm just thinking about the mass action toolkit. We didn't develop it, but back to your question, no, we're not promoting any ideology.
Does it concern you that your goal is objectivity, one of your goals is objectivity, and your mass action toolkit references objectivity as a defining characteristic of white supremacy culture?
It's not our toolkit.
It is your toolkit. You've been promoting it for quite some time.
We did not come up with a toolkit, sir.
But you've been promoting it.
It is used as a reference, I believe, probably in 2019, 2020.
Yes, under your leadership, it has been used as a reference. Is Mickey Mouse racist?
Mickey Mouse is not racist.
It's not racist. According to the Smithsonian Institution, one of your exhibits referenced Mickey Mouse as representing, quote, vestiges of longstanding traditions of blackface minstrelsy. Would you describe that as racist?
No, the historical trajectory of the origins of Mickey Mouse tie directly
So Mickey Mouse is rooted in racism. Is that your testimony?
No, sir, it's rooted in minstrelsy.
Minstrelsy, you don't think that blackface minstrelsy is racist?
It had certain obvious racial overtones that have been well documented.
Do you think that that's problematic, that Mickey Mouse also has those racial overtones?
It's not for me to determine what's problematic, it's determined to me what's accurate.
Is that right?
Yes,
is it important to be polite?
Excuse me, sir?
Is it important to be polite?
Yes, sir.
It's also interesting because the same mass action toolkit that your organization has been promoting references politeness as a defining characteristic of white supremacy culture. Ma'am, are you a white supremacist?
No, sir.
You're not. Can you help me square why your organization says that being polite is part of being a white supremacist?
I'm not exactly familiar with that passage of the Mass Action Toolkit, which is not
I can show you the
one that we
passage. It's
developed.
right here.
I don't, pardon me?
I said I just read you the passage from it.
And then your question was, sir?
We're going to move on. What is Latina power?
What is Latino power?
Latina power.
Latina power would be the forces derived from being a Latina.
Do you think that it's appropriate for the Smithsonian Institution to sell Latina power paraphernalia? Hats, mugs, other things that say Latina power?
I believe that the merchandise our store sells
I'm asking you if it's appropriate.
Tries to reflect the richness of the communities.
So your testimony is that it is appropriate?
Those are your words, sir.
I'm asking you, is it appropriate to sell Latina power paraphernalia? It's a yes or no question.
I don't have control over what is sold
I'm
in our
asking you if it's
stores.
appropriate. I didn't ask you if you have control over it. Is
I
it
understood you,
appropriate?
sir. Yeah.
Yes or no?
Again, we strive to represent all Americans and including
Is it
in our
appropriate, yes or
merchandise.
no?
We strive to represent all Americans in our museums, including in our merchandise.
Is that right? My
Yes,
time's
sir.
up.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Mafumi from Maryland.
Mr. Chairman, a UC request.
Yes.
Ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a Newsweek article from March 19, 2025 titled Jackie Robinson's Army History Deleted by Pentagon.
So ordered. Anything else? Mr. Mafumi, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to make the most out of it by making some very clear points. Black people across this country are outraged at what is happening now with these efforts to do away with the African American Museum and all of the Smithsonian. They're outraged because they've lived too many years, been through too many struggles, suffered too many bruises, and clearly have very, very, very little to show for that sojourn here in this country. I want to be real clear about this. If you erase it, we will replace it. It's that damn simple. We don't seem to learn. If anything, we should be looking at history to learn and to make sure that we are taking advantage of what we've learned. You know, it was Abraham Lincoln in 1848 who addressed his countrymen in Edwardsville, Illinois, and he said, and I quote, "When you have succeeded in dehumanizing the Negro, when you have put him down and made it but for him to be, but as the beast of the field, when you have extinguished his soul in this world and placed him where the ray of hope is blown out, as in the darkness of the damned, are you quite sure," he asked, "that the demon you have roused will not one day turn and rend you?" He said, "What constitutes the bulwark of our freedom and our independence? It is not," said Lincoln, "our crown and battlements. It is not our armies and our navies. It is not our bristling seacoast. For all those things are not our reliance against tyranny, because they can all be turned against us without having made us weaker for the struggle. Our reliance," he said, "as Americans is in the love of liberty which God has planted deep within all of us, regardless of how we look and where we come from." He said, "Our reliance is in the spirit of freedom, which prides itself as the heritage of all men in all lands everywhere." And then he admonished, "Destroy that spirit, and you would have planted the seeds of despotism at your own doorstep. Ignore," he said, "the chains of human bondage, and you prepare one day for your own limbs to wear them. Accustom," he said, "to trample on the rights of other people, and you would have lost the creative genius of your own American independence, and as such, would become the fit subjects of the first cunning tyrant who rises among you." Sound familiar? History taught us and still teaches us that we can't keep making the same mistakes. So I know this is a big discussion about a lot of aspects about the museum, but I'm here as a black man who grew up in segregation, who wasn't allowed to go certain places, who drank from a water fountain that said colored, who found his mother and his father unable to do anything other than basic day work. And if for no one else, if for them and their spirit and all the other nameless and faceless black men in this country and black women who made their bodies bridges, that some of us could get to the university, that some of us could get to a good job, that some of us could get to the United States, if for no other reason, I want this to go out loud and clear, and I'm not speaking just on behalf of myself. I know that I speak on behalf of so many people who are not here today. We will not let you destroy that museum. No matter how long it takes, how many battles are required, how much effort is needed, we will not allow that to happen unless you find a way to kill all of us and walk over our bodies to change history. That history is too sacred, it is too precious, and it will not be erased. Because, as I said, if you attempt to erase it, we will continue to replace it over and over and over again. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mafumi. Mr. Burleson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Hardig, what do you believe is the core purpose of the National Museum of History, of American History?
Thank you, sir, and good morning. The beauty, I think, of the museum is to truly take the over 2 million objects we have, put
What is the core purpose?
scholarship around
What is
them,
your mission? What's the core
and to
purpose?
tell the richest story of America's past that we can. Our mission is to empower people to create a more just and compassionate future by preserving, sharing, and exploring the complexities of our past.
Okay. In your 2024 presentation, you said the museum changed its mission in part to help people get out of the America, quote unquote, America First mentality. So my question is, what's specifically wrong about the American First mentality?
So we changed the mission like most organizations and corporations do. When I came, that we had an expired strategic plan and we created a new mission.
So is your contention that you just changed it because you just needed to change it under your direction?
No, most directors.
I'm asking
changed it.
specifically, you made the statement that you have to get out of the quote unquote America First mentality. What did you mean by that?
I'm not sure which of my public appearances you're referring to, sir.
Director Hardig, let me ask you, are you America First?
I'm a very proud American.
That's great to hear. Do you love America?
I love this country unconditionally.
That's great to hear. At one point, you stated that loving America is very complicated. Let me ask you this. Recently, we had visitors from all over the globe for the World Cup. What I think is the common thread that we saw across all social media platforms was an astonishment and astonishment and amazement of things that preconceived ideas that they had about this country. Some of those preconceived ideas were that Americans were dangerous, that everywhere they would go, there would be shootings and people, all of the crime that would occur. There were preconceived notions that Americans were all hostile and xenophobic, that Americans were, that everyone is living in poverty unless you're rich. Do you think, after this happened, what do you think caused the rest of the world to believe all of these ills about the United States of America, these falsehoods about this country?
The World Cup was truly remarkable in terms of how it brought everyone together. I'm unsure what they were using as their basis for those conclusions, sir.
Well, some people are spreading false information about the United States, right? And you say you love this country, America's first. You proud of America's history?
Absolutely, warts and all.
Okay. So wouldn't it be nice if the rest of the world saw the history of the United States as being the country that led the world through economic prosperity, particularly after World War II with the Marshall Plan, led multiple nations out of prosperity?
Absolutely, sir. And in our Mars Hall of American Enterprise, which tells the amazing story of American business, they'd see just that.
Wouldn't it be great if the rest of the world saw us as what we truly are, is the one country that led the world and inspired them to eliminate slavery, to eliminate all of the genocides that happen?
Absolutely, and I think when they come through the museum, overwhelmingly, wherever they're from Nashville, Tennessee to Nome, Alaska, they come out and they say they come out more inspired.
So what was the
more
origin of that?
motivated.
What was the origin of what created all of these great things that inspired the rest of the world, that lifted people out of poverty, that ended genocides, or at least inspired the world to end their genocides? What was the original precipice of that? What was the original beginning?
So the Revolutionary Era, of course, with its brilliant founding documents, with the Declaration of Independence, with those two soaring paragraphs.
So I think that what we're trying to
is the origin.
compel, what I'm trying to convey is that when the rest of the world is having a hard time with disinformation, there's enough negative things that are being said, you would think the one institution that would be trumpeting the great and wonderful things that this country has done, especially at a time when we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of this country, would be to showcase that, to showcase our founders. And then with that, I yield back.
Yeah, thank you, sir, and absolutely, I
Thank you.
agree.
Mr. Frost from Florida, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I got to say, listening to this hearing, I think many of my colleagues would benefit from actually stepping foot in the Smithsonian institutions, maybe not just reading talking points from the White House or reading what they're supposed to say. I've been in these museums. I mean, talking about the National Museum of African American History and Culture specifically, it tells the whole story. The ugly and how America and Americans came together to get rid of slavery, to fight Jim Crow. But it tells the whole story. So maybe this committee should do like a field trip and actually go through these institutions to actually see the full story be told, because I would contend that many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have never stepped foot in many of these institutions, at least not in a long time. Director Hartig, thank you for being here. Can you please share a little bit about your experience as a historian?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Frost. I came to history as an undergraduate. I thought I was going to be an English major, but I took my first history class, and I was rowing crew for UCLA at the time, and I hoisted my 10-speed on my shoulder, and I walked up the stairs to the history department, and I declared that I wanted to be an historian. And since then, as a public servant and as a public historian, in which we look at archives and material culture and museum work and historic preservation work, I've been completely motivated to figure out how then I can best serve the nation, and being the Elizabeth Macmillan Director of the museum certainly is the highest calling.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, are you a professional historian?
Actually, I have been paid by publishers to write history, so I am.
Okay, how many exhibits have you curated?
Oh, no, I'm not a curator.
Okay, how many exhibits have you curated? It's a separate question.
I haven't curated any exhibits
Okay,
because
thank
I'm not
you.
a curator.
Dr. Hartig, thank you. You haven't curated any exhibits, thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Hartig, is your work partisan?
No, sir, our work is not. We don't seek to advance any political agenda.
Yes, ma'am. Does the museum take political sides or have a political agenda?
No, sir.
Does the museum have exhibits that challenge people's views or may make them feel uncomfortable?
History is incredibly challenging, and by then its very nature, if we tell it in its richness, we absolutely, I think, have objects that can make people uncomfortable. And, you know, I hearken back to Secretary Bunch's words that he was told by a sharecropper that, you know, tell the people both what they want to hear and what they need to hear. So I think depending on where you are, certainly there can be a level of discomfort.
Thank you. What review process does the museum use before opening an exhibit?
So the museum goes through a rigorous scholarly presentation of the way in which exhibit objects and stories and interpretation relate to one another. That's reviewed extensively, also depending on the size of the exhibit. Our In Pursuit of Life, Liberty, and Happiness exhibition, our 250 object exhibition for America 250, went through exhaustive review with also peer reviews as well. Then it is presented up to the undersecretaries and often the secretary in conversation with our review.
Thank you, Director. Mr. Gonzalez, who should decide what's in a museum?
I would say that the curator, but also overseen by the leadership of the museum. The taxpayer does spend $1.1 billion in the Smithsonian, so the Smithsonian is accountable to the American taxpayer.
All right, thank you. I have a yes or no question. Should exhibits capture American history as it happened without bias?
Yes.
Was slavery a part of American history?
Yes.
Was Jim Crow a part of American history?
Yes.
Is it important that museums discuss these topics at length so people understand the gravity?
Absolutely yes.
Do you believe that American art should be consistent with the Trump administration's cultural and political goals?
I have no idea what that is. I cannot comment on that.
Do you believe that American art, or do you believe that the Smithsonian's goals should be consistent with the Trump's administration's cultural and political goals?
I don't know how you define that. I cannot answer it.
You seem to have a long-standing personal vendetta against the Smithsonian that started well before the White House report. And I ask you those questions because I'm concerned about censorship. I'm no historian either, just like you. But I know that Nazi Germany weaponized art and museums to demonize certain groups. Dr. Blight, if Congress or the White House starts deciding historical interpretation, how is that different from political censorship?
It is political censorship. Their model may indeed be Joseph Goebbels' Committee on Enlightenment, which is what the Nazis called their committee that tried to control museums.
I'm sorry,
Thank
sir.
you. I yield back.
Time's up.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman, I have a UC request. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to enter into the record, ask unanimous consent, Reuters article from January 2025. Trump's anti-DEI order yanks Air Force videos of Tuskegee airmen and female pilots.
So ordered. Mr. Fallon, Texas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Hardig, you hold a very prestigious position. It's an awesome responsibility. We're honoring American history, and we have a rich history in these past 250 years. In 2019, when you took did you take the job in 19? Is that right?
Good morning, sir, and yes, I
Morning.
did.
Okay. And what was your pay then? How much did they pay you?
My starting pay was $300,000.
And what's it today?
It is about $370,000, which is paid from an endowment, not federal funds.
Okay. But you do agree that you work for the American people?
Every day, sir.
All right. And all of them, even the ones you disagree with?
We welcome
All of
everyone
them.
to the
All
museum.
right, wonderful.
Yes.
Are the majority of the funds for the museum paid for by the American taxpayer?
So of the Smithsonian's appropriation, for which we're very
The
grateful.
majority is?
Yes.
Okay, just because we
No.
have limited time.
Yeah, so if I may, sir, so
Again,
our
sorry,
alloc-
we have very limited time, but it's
I
a majority.
appreciate
All right, we agree there. Webster's, I looked up the definition of history because it's very important in our conversation today. And it's a chronological record of significant events such as affecting a nation or an institution, often including an explanation of their causes. And as such, I think we hopefully would all agree that you need to take great care when presenting history. It needs to be fair and balanced and as objective as any human being can be, to and for all Americans, and not colored with, we don't want to color the museum and our history with your personal beliefs, biases, ideology, and preconceived notions. And I think it's important to take that step back and present a comprehensive look at American history that displays all of it, good, bad, ugly, triumphant, et cetera. Director, do you believe you've done that these
Yes,
past 7
sir.
years?
To the best of my ability.
John Smithson, when he donated, I think it was in 1826, when he donated his fortune, he said it was to increase in diffusion of knowledge among men. I think we would all agree, people now. And the precursor to your museum was the National Museum of History and Technology, and that's important in a minute. And they wanted to always focus on the story of American progress. Director, do you love the United States of America?
I do unequivocally. and-
Wonderful. I do as well, we agree. And on balance, do you believe the United States has been a force of good in the world? On balance.
The United States is the world's longest consecutive running democracy, and
So I
it
would
is
take that as a yes?
truly
Again, just because we have
remarkable
limited
country.
time. Yes? So
Yes, sir.
2 out of 2, okay. And you believe we still are today?
Pardon me, sir?
And you believe we still are today?
Absolutely.
Yes, wonderful. So the United States, would you agree with the statement that we're the greatest nation history has ever known?
I think that I would refer judgment in terms of.
All right,
the
so I got to
witness
take that
and
as a no because it's an easy answer. Yes, yes, yes. So we got 3 out of 4. That's not bad. Under your leadership, did you direct staff to frame and tie all the exhibits in the museum to 7 core social issues?
No, sir.
You did not. Not on like race,
To the
gender,
best of my knowledge.
climate change, immigration, economic equality, technical. All right, well, 250th anniversary. We agree that America's 250 years old.
Absolutely.
As far as a focus and highlight for the 250th, did you have any new exhibits?
First ones there to help. We were there to help Venezuela. It was an earthquake, I guess you'd call it. It was a pretty massive earthquake. And we were able to do a lot of good, but they lost a lot of people. Venezuela, the people are so happy that we're there. The jobs, everything's happening, and we're taking out many, many times the money that we spent on the war. This one, Iran is bigger. It's a more complex situation, but we're probably doing equally as well if you look at the damage that's been done. And again, as I said to the young man that just posed the question over here, if we left today, it would take them decades to rebuild, and I don't believe they could ever rebuild. And honestly, they haven't seen anything yet. We've been nice. We've been nice.
Haley Bullis, Scripps News. Thank you for the question. Do you believe that Iran has moved nuclear centrifuges into Pickaxe Mountain? And when you say we're not done yet, what is left to finish?
Well, I think that they may have. We don't have it on record. All we do is read the fake news. You know, we see the news is so wrong so many times. So, you know, maybe this one they have right, but it's okay. It doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. You're talking about the centrifuges. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. They don't have. We follow the material. That's where the action is, and we'll be hitting that area probably pretty soon. And there's not a thing they can do about it. You know, normally I wouldn't say that. If I thought they could do something about it, I would never say that. But we'll be hitting that area pretty soon, and very heavily.
Two years ago during the campaign, I interviewed you and you told me on MTV Lebanon that the peace will happen in Lebanon. And every word you said during the interview, it's happening today. Like from the first day in the administration, you were working hard for peace. I've been here daily.
I understood Lebanon, and I understood how horribly Lebanon has been treated as a country. They've been like a whipping post, what's happened with Iran and with Hezbollah. But Lebanon's been treated very incredibly badly. And maybe I'm a little prejudiced in favor of Lebanon because I have so many Lebanese friends.
You're not at all.
Well, no, but there's so many Lebanese friends. And so I understand Lebanon. Tom Barrack is Lebanese, the ambassador.
Lebanese army. President Aoun, does the Lebanese army currently have the funding, equipment, and manpower necessary to implement the agreement? Or you are asking today President Trump for additional U.S. assistance today to do the job?
Definitely, with the support of President Trump, and we spoke on the phone, and I told him I need 2 things from you: political support and supporting of the LAF, which is the LAF is the most trusted institution in the country, and it has the most powerful weapon, which is the trust of the public. And like any armed forces in the world, the Lebanese armed forces is the backbone of security and stability. We need to support the LAF. The LAF maintain the country safe and stable. Without the LAF, everything will collapse. We don't want that. I think President Trump doesn't want that. In 1975, the first institution to collapse was the LAF. And as a result, we saw the emergence of many local militias, and the South was empty, allowing the Palestinians to roam the South and launch attack against Israel. We don't want to see that back again. All we're asking is keep supporting the LAF, and they know that the LAF is doing a great job, performing its duty to the fullest. I fully trust the LAF. I fully trust the leadership of the LAF.
And they did a great step forward with the recent signing with Israel. That was a big step.
Without direct
flight from America to Lebanon again. I'm Pedro
I
from...
can see that happening, absolutely.
Question for President Tony Murad from NBCI TV. So Ambassador Isa, the U.S. Ambassador to Lebanon, Michel Isa, told me that the President would not leave Washington empty-handed. What concrete outcomes will you bring back to Lebanon?
You'll find out.
Mr. President?
Thank you all very much. We're doing very well with Iran. We're doing unbelievably with the economy. We have investment. As you know, Toyota is coming in with the biggest plant, I understand, anywhere in the world. They're leaving Mexico. They're coming into our country. They're going to come into Texas, to be specific. We have more plants under construction now than at any time, by far, by many times. We have over $19.2 trillion being spent in America, and they're going to be opening up in a year or year and a half. And there has never been a time like this in America. Truly, it's the golden age of America. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.